I'll hit go live right here. Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, a brand new world out here for the Pat Mayo Experience. We're sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy is going to get you a $100 deposit match on your first time deposit. And in the description, there's a survey that if you fill it out with your Underdog handle in it, you can win one of $5,000 prizes as well. So I don't see why you wouldn't do that. So even just the positive ROI of winning the $1,000, even if you don't have an Underdog account now, just go sign up with Code Mayo. Deposit $10, get your handle, and then boom, enter that draw. You can win 1,000 on top of that. That only seems sensible, right? Reid Fowler, who I haven't talked to in ages.
Yeah, it's been a while, Pat. It's been a minute since we've talked about the old golf, so I'm excited to get started at API.
So we are streaming obviously live on my YouTube channel on Mayo Media Network. We're also on Watch Playback. So if you are watching us on Watch Playback right now, you can see that we are talking over live from the range for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It's, it aired a little bit earlier, but it's us in the bottom corner, the YouTube stream up there. We can flick back and forth. I actually opened up Fantasy National as well, that we can see it. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you just see two of us in a box, and we don't have the rights on my YouTube channel in order to be broadcasting that. But I thought it would be as a good way to keep the chat going, to get questions, everything like that. We can take that from YouTube, but I would highly recommend that you check out Watch Playback as well at the same time. So that doesn't even really fit in the entire screen. Let's boost that up a bit and try to make that a little bit bigger on YouTube for ourselves, so people can actually see it once I pop it up on Fantasy National. So how have things been going with you for the year? Are you down in Florida right now doing PGA Live this week?
I'm not. So the next time I'll be down in Florida is for the Houston. I think the Shriners Children's. There's it's like a 5-name tournament now. I always forget what it's called. That's the next time. I should know actually if I'm working it. That's the next time we'll be down there. So it's the end of this month, I believe. So yeah, that's the next time.
All right. Usually are you? So you're going to be on location for that?
On location, yeah. Right now, I think the idea is for obviously with playback, right? Is we can do this every single week. And this is a beautiful thing about playback is that content creators right now, it's the NBA. If you're an NBA fan, obviously check it out. They have League Pass over there. But especially for us, right, Pat, we've been talking about golf content. How do we level up what we currently already have, which is, and I can say this, is not what we've wanted, right? We've always been clamoring for more. And this is, in my opinion, one of the first steps and a big step into getting golf content to a space where the viewers can actually interact and then also watch, what we're seeing, watch the golf, watch live from the range, which you'll see in a minute. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, on location, our new studios are probably going to be ready next year, if I had to guess, which is really exciting. And then you'll see a lot more from us down at PGA Tour Live.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for this. So if we can get PGA Tour Live, like you said, through ESPN Plus on the Watch Playback platform, what we'll be able to do is do this, what we're doing right now. But instead of having YouTube from Live at the Range up there, we can pick and choose of the ESPN streams that we get for the pre-tournament coverage. Maybe Reid, I mean, you're in with those guys. Can you talk them into just like, look, let's scrap featured holes. And what we're going to do is have cameras on 17, 18, and 8 and 9, and that way we can actually do the real cut sweat every single week just on here.
Right, and that's the point, right? Is where has there been, because it's definitely not Twitter, right? It's definitely not X, whatever you want to call it, where they're looking at feedback from the crowd. Because again, like I've been mentioning, we've been yelling to have something like this or something close to this for a very long time. But if enough people, if the critical mass on playback says, hey, we want 17, 18, we want 8 or 8 and 9 on stream 4, right, instead of the par 3s, I'm all for it. I work a lot of the par 3s, so I usually work that stream, and you kind of get it too, right? Like you get, and what's kind of amazing about these guys is that all of them basically hit it in the same spot on a par 3. Which is amazing, right? You think, okay, I bet that he goes 15 feet to the left of this hole. And it's usually the case. When you switch it up, obviously, with 8 and 9, 17 and 18, you get the cut sweat, you just get more content. You get more narratives. You get more stories. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to use all of this, Pat. I'm going to tell them.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing is like getting people onto the platform, and that's how we can finally have an opportunity to make our voice heard on something like this. So if
Mhm.
we can get people rallying to it, I didn't want to like to do this with like a big promo or anything, and just I thought we'd do the show, we'd do our regular Q&A. If you have questions,
Yep.
dump them into the Watch Playback chat, dump them into the YouTube chat. We'll be getting to all of your questions here momentarily, but I just wanted to explain what we're doing and why it looks a little bit wonky on YouTube. But if you do go over to Watch Playback right now, I put it into the live chat. People can click over and they can see that, there's Hideki on the range. He's hitting his shots. And this is all we'll have for the moment, like you mentioned. But hopefully there is a time in the near future where we get, the real stuff here and we can actually talk over and do a show with live golf. But instead of listening to Reid in Houston on commentary, you can be like, Reid sucks. I want to listen to Pat talk about this. And then you'll be able to do that.
Absolutely. That's the whole point, right? Is if I do suck, and 99.9% of the time I do, and I'm talking about nothing related to golf, which maybe is something that you like. Oh, Hideki with a little bit of a slap there. Then
Yeah,
yeah,
but
that's
hold on.
what you can do.
Was it a slap or did he just take his hand off of the club?
True. Yeah.
And it's like perfect.
Right. Exactly. 223. You see, he curved it about 11-3. Like it was a fine shot. But yeah, that's exactly the point. Is we don't want you to watch, like, this is the second experience, the second screen, right, so to speak, but not necessarily, because you want to tune into the people that you want to listen to. It's like if we're on it's the digital sports bar. If we're at a digital sports bar and you're talking to a bunch of your friends, you're at a watch party, think of it that way, right, that you can listen on and obviously watch the shows, and what you can do from this is endless, right? And if you're interested, like Pat said, with Watch Playback, and if you want to enter into the chat. And then what's cool about this too is like you can have a bunch of people on the stage. So Cust, Feinberg, any one of those, Tambo can come on, and you can have 4 people on this stage, not just 2. And then you can have a talk, a watch party while all 4 of you guys are on the stage, or 5 or 6, right? So it really is up to you. Obviously, you don't want to see like 30 people on the stage because then you won't be able to watch the golf. But hey, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do, and that's why it's so cool.
All right, well, let's get to some people's questions because we're here to talk about the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Puerto Rico, LIV Hong Kong, whatever it might be. After I spoke with Tambo today, if people haven't checked out that show, go do it. I'll have the finalized everything in the newsletter this evening. You can hit that down in the description, completely free. It'll get sent right to you. I ended up betting Xander Reid. I used my 30% boost to take him to 23-1. So I ended up betting him. I didn't bet Fitz. I didn't bet Zalatoris. Instead, I left Zalatoris off, I left Fitz off, and I ended up betting Xander and Luke List. And I bet Luke List at 110-1.
Any interest in Seabez?
No.
Or no?
I mean,
no. Okay.
Kind of, but
yeah.
Like, are we talking about to win this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But to your point, right? Luke List, it was between Luke List, I think you mentioned Hoagie as well when you're talking to Tambo, right? Like some of the guys down there in the triple digits. And that's really what I've been struggling with too this year is that we've seen all of these guys win, right, at triple digits, at long shots. Skins was 1,000-1. He was, around there on Saturday. You get into this narrative of, okay, well, you have to have some of those long shots like a Luke List. But I think Tambo was mentioning this. Doesn't this feel a little bit like at this point in the season, some of these guys are going to rise to the top? Even these blue chips like Victor, you mentioned Spieth a little bit there. It does feel like one of those players, and Xander might be that guy, is going to win. I'm leaning towards Fitz. I haven't made that final bet yet. I've seen that number 2 go from 30 to 35 and 33 on FanDuel. So like that's kind of where I'm at right now with how I want to play this part of the Florida swing is like a Fitz, but I don't mind Xander. I'm also interested in Victor Hovland. I just don't know what he's going to do, but I'd be pissed if I didn't have him and he was up there, 2 ahead on Sunday.
Yeah, but you're not getting a discount on Victor. He's playing like shit.
True. Yeah, that's true. So it's like, is the discount Homa then?
Yeah, I mean, he's actually getting. He's not even really that much.
He's also playing like shit.
Yeah, he is playing like shit, but at least you can like find him like above 30-1. Victor's 16.
Right. Yeah, but like again, you always say this too, and it's like if he wins at 16, you'd be fine. But then
sure.
Like how many triple digit guys do we need? And that's always my problem, right? Because then I look at the payout and I'm like, okay, yeah, I want 2 or 3 triple digit guys because the payout's nice. But should I sub like a Hoagie for Victor Hovland and just up my unit size? Probably not, because you want to maintain unit size in terms of bankroll management. But that's sort of what I'm playing with. The Xander, that area, that Victor Hovland, and especially for DFS, Victor Hovland is not going to be highly rostered, highly owned.
See, I think that he is.
From an outright,
when Tambo and I talked through it seems like people. That's the thing. Like Victor's odds didn't move, but people are betting him anyway. His DFS price didn't move. People are using him anyway. It's Cantlay that people aren't using because they're sick and tired of him blowing it every Sunday.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? That's sort of the mechanics of betting too. You kind of see it in football when you bet one side, but yet that number doesn't move in terms of where that bet's coming from. Yeah, that's interesting. If that's the case, then yeah, maybe that's the talk off the Victor ledge that I needed. But still, like, again, right? Like, we have no idea. I have no idea who's going to win these. It's just like Victor was playing so well not too long ago.
I mean, not too long ago is 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, wasn't he playing well in the swing season? I feel like I saw him play well.
He played well at like the Ryder Cup, but I don't think he played in the swing season. Reed, you're out of the loop now.
Trust me, like having a kid and him being almost 2 years old, it felt like Victor played well like 3 months ago or 4 months ago. If that's the case and he hasn't, then yeah, then I'll be off him. But I still like Victor. I still think he's got it.
I still think he's got it too, but just even to, let's see if I can share this tab instead. There we go. There's the Victor. So 19th, 58th, and 22nd. Yeah, and he didn't play during the swing season.
Okay, well then I don't know what I'm talking about. It felt like he's played well recently, but I guess not. Right? I mean, he won the Tour Championship, but no, that doesn't matter. If that's the case, again, like I mentioned, right? This is why we're doing this, is right to talk about it and to see where we want to go. And from a betting standpoint, right, it does. I know you bet Ludwig. It's that range right there where in previous years, right, that 30, maybe in this case, it's going to be obviously smaller because we only have so many golfers in the field. That used to be really like that sweet spot range. But right now, like, do you feel like people are betting less, or you're betting less in that like mid range? And I know Victor is obviously higher. But do you feel like you're betting less in like that 30 to 50 range and more so either top of the board or bottom of the board?
No, not really. I feel like I'm just trying to more or less just ride with the guys that I like, whatever number they come in at. I'm going to go with it. Like when Ludwig opened at 25, when he opened for me, I was like, oh, I know that number is not going to be as high by the time I start like making bets. I think this place sets up perfectly for him, and I'm just going to do it. And if it's, if I get the 25 now and it's like 19, 18, 16, depending on where it is, I probably wouldn't have done it at 16. Like, you're just giving up a lot of value that way.
But God damn it, he's such a terrible putter.
Who?
Like, I mean, I bet Aberg. I don't know.
You need to reactivate your Fantasy National subscription.
Hasn't he been? Look, I see it right now. He's 12.
You saw the clip of him. Right? You saw the clip of him 3-putting from 3 feet, and like, guy sucks now.
No. I've also bet Aber for a bunch. I think I've bet Sony, and I get like he's gained strokes, but those short putts, I've seen him miss more short putts. And maybe it's just when I'm tuning into Aber or like missing these putts, and that's why they're showing him on like a 5-foot putt. And again, that's just my feeling. Should I remove that recency bias of him missing those putts? Maybe, but for what it's worth, I'm not betting Ludwig. I get why everybody is, and I get why you are, because he fits nicely at this course. But I can't. Like, I get Fantasy National shows it, the stats show it, but when I watch it, it just doesn't feel good, Pat, to watch him miss a 5-foot putt.
But you've bet on Scotty Scheffler before, right?
Yeah, but not this year. Not this year, and not since he's been a shit putter. I bet against him, but I haven't bet on Scotty. I look in the last 10 years that I've been doing this, I've bet on a bunch of shit putters, right? Like, I've seen Zalatoris do the same thing. I just have a little more faith. Like, if we're talking about bad putters, I have a little more faith in a guy like I'm not betting Zalatoris this week, but if I were, like, if it was between the two, I'd have more faith in him. And you talk about value, I feel like Ludwig, even at that 22, 23, doesn't give me a lot of value for what I see else on the board, right? And so that's just how I'm playing it. But I get why people like him. I mean, he's an absolute boss when he hits the ball 400 yards off the tee.
And straight, too. And he played well here in his debut last year. He actually played the lights out. at Bay Hill, which was really nice to see. But I just like him at courses where longer irons are going to come into play versus his wedges and like short game, which frankly just has not been all that
Yeah.
good. His putting has been fine, by the way. He's like had some bad rounds, but overall, like his putting has been lights out. He is 12th in this field in putting over the past 24 rounds.
Yeah, no, look,
He
again,
has,
and this
he has
is what
lost strokes putting in events once since last year's Sanderson Farms.
this is a good exercise, right? Of like, if you just look at the stats, and yes, like you need to look at stats to kind of give you a basis of where you want to go. When I looked at the numbers, and this is my process, right? When I first looked at the numbers, my first reaction when I saw Ludwig at that, I think he opened on our sites like at 18 or maybe 20, but I don't think he was there for long. I scrolled right past him, right? That's just how I felt about Ludwig at that number with the other guys around him at first glance. And sometimes you need to rearrange it, right? If you have an initial impression of a golfer or a number, whatever it may be, and you don't like it at first, you may talk yourself into it, and then stats help that. That also works in the reverse, right? Where I look at him and I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. I don't like it. And then you look into the stats. I didn't look into the stats before I looked at the numbers, because before, when I used to do that, I just say, okay, guys who are just these stat model kings, right? That's the guys I'm going to bet on. That's guys, but everyone's doing that, right? This is more for DFS, but at first glance, I just did not like that number for some reason. I don't know why.
So
just,
to look
it just
at
didn't
it,
drive with me.
I mean, it's not unwarranted because he's 59th in this field, putting from 5 to 10 feet. And there's only 69 players in the field. So he's near the bottom, but he's first from 10 to 15 feet. So he's just making an overwhelming amount of birdies because his opportunities gained are he's converting a lot of birdies because he's making a lot of putts from 10 to 15 feet. And when we did that breakdown a year ago, it was me and Brendan DeGula that 5 to 10 feet found to be very predictive, as did 10 to 15 feet. So it's funny that he's better from like the longer birdie range than the shorter birdie range. But that could just, I mean, it's only 24 rounds. It could be a pretty small sample. And as I mentioned, he 3-putted twice from basically 6 feet. So that's going to have a huge negative on what he's done. Like, even if you kind of go in and take a look at his round by round, how this is working out. Yeah, like he had a bad putting round, basically Genesis first 2 days, and then was fine. But it was that range that kind of killed him at the Genesis, that 5 to 10. And then at Farmers, it was 0 to 5 feet that killed him. You see the minus 2.3, the minus 1.3, but the 10 to 15 feet, just 2.2, 1.4. Those are the numbers that I really want, because that's going to generate a lot of birdies, a lot of out of position par saves that if he can get back, and he's really only lost in 3 of his past 6 rounds from 5 to 10 feet. It's just one round at the Genesis. Round 3 was exceptionally bad.
Yeah, and again, like that could be swaying. If I've only watched 5 minutes of Aubert. Right. And again, this is what the broadcast shows you. So you're only beholden to what they show you. Then you see those putts, though, too. Right. And this is just, you're thinking in advance of how many of those 5 to 10 footers are for par. Obviously, we look for birdies, right? We can't predict if he's putting those 5 to 10s for par or even for birdie, right? You can look at the stats and say, okay, well, what are his par saves gained over the last 24 rounds? That's the stuff that I would look at, too. And especially at a course like this, where we've seen winners, the winning margin be one stroke at the end. It's those moments too, and because we're picking someone to win, we're not picking necessarily the 6 to get through the cut. We're not picking head to head. We're picking this person to win and to beat all the other players. That's what scares me a little bit. He's a great player. I'm gonna lose more money on Aubert than I'm gonna win over his career, just because he's that good of a player. For this week, I'm gonna remove the money that I bet on him and put it to some other loser that's probably not going to win this golf tournament. So, but I like Ludwig. He's a great player. And he's how old is he? Like 22?
Yeah, he's a little bit older than some of the other.
Yeah.
Maybe
24.
I actually, I think he's 3 or 4 years older than Tom Kim, which is kind of weird to think about.
Yeah. Like he'll be fine. This week, I'm not going to be in on it. Chris Kirk, on the other hand, no, I'm not going to be betting Chris Kirk. Although I do lose a lot of money to Chris Kirk.
How? He's won twice in the past year. If you're anyone who bets,
I have not.
If you bet Chris Kirk, you can't be down money on him. It's impossible.
I have not. I had Eric Cole.
Why are you betting Eric Cole?
No, this was last year. This was last year. when he was 175 or whatever it was. Was it here or was it last week's?
It was last week.
I forget where it was.
Reed, if you had that
Yeah.
bet, I feel like you would remember that.
Yeah, I try to remove it from my memory, Pat, because it was a tough one. And then I think Sahith. I had Sahith at Century this year. So
don't bet
I've
Chris Kirk often.
don't bet Chris Kirk often. But look, I mean, he in Florida? I mean, him in Florida is pretty nicely. Is he going to be someone that's going to be on anybody's DraftKings lineups, anybody's FanDuel lineups?
I mean, I don't think anyone plays FanDuel Fantasy, so no on that one. For DraftKings, yeah, probably. Let's get to a few of these questions. Sage asked, no more Listeners League on DraftKings. Is Underdog going to supplement this with something? Yes, we will have Underdog Listeners Leagues. We're just working on what that will be at the moment. I don't know if we'll have one up in time for the Players' Championship. We might, but I think that the first big one is going to be for the Masters, but we might try to introduce some smaller ones, but they're going to be different styles of contests. Like there'll be a major season best ball draft. There might be a pick'em type, week over week type of option that we can do and all play in a league against each other at the same time. So stay tuned to the show for the Underdog Fantasy Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League. Code Mayo, take that survey, try to get your bucks now, then you can reinvest them and try to win even more money in some of these listener leagues that are coming up. Joe asks, Reed, pick one out of Fowler, Siwoo, Van Rooyen, Cole, or Jaeger. I don't know why these guys are all lumped together, but they are in his mind.
EVR of those.
Yeah.
My guy. Right? If we don't know what context it's in, if it's just generally speaking, I mean, I always love Siwoo for anything, but for this week, give me EVR.
Yeah, I mean, without prices attached to it, ownership attached to it, if it's just like one of those guys, I'm with you. EVR is the move. Yeah. If it was DraftKings, I probably would fade EVR because he's going to be super popular because he's super cheap and take Fowler or something.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Cole is, I know he's been playing like absolute dog shit, but that's kind of what you want. If it's a DraftKings, right? If it's a DraftKings lineup, a DK lineup, then that's kind of what you want. But again, is this, are you entering multiple lineups? Is this a single entry? All those things need to be considered if you're choosing one of those five.
I'd rather have Cuss, Kraft, Singles, Queso than bet Spieth at 20-1 during this current year. I think it depends on where it is. I'm not big on Spieth at 20-1 either. That's why I didn't bet him.
No, but he's got really good course history here, man. Like he does really well here. I know, but again, 20-1, I get it. He's probably more of a DraftKings play, if anything, for me. But I like Spieth this week.
So is he a DraftKings player or not? Like, would you rather play? Just look at his pricing. Would you rather play him or Burns, him or Xander, him or Cantlay, him or
I'm taking Spieth,
him or Thomas?
Yeah, I'm taking Spieth over probably all of those guys except for Xander. Okay. On the DK lineup, yeah.
All right, Xander or Cantlay for the one and done this week.
Boy, I'll go Cantlay for one and done.
I'm going to take Cantlay for the one and done of those two because I know that he's coming in lower owned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same.
And I have them I like Xander a little bit more, obviously, but not probably 3 times as much as the ownership. I think they're pretty equal. I just hope that this is the week for Cantlay. I bet Cantlay first round leader, by the way, at 25-1, and Keegan first round leader at 45-1.
Yeah, Keegan's nice. I like him at this course he's like the old Wyndham Clark. Like for these big tournaments, he always seems to get up. So I love Keegan this week, especially first round leader as well.
Yeah, first round leader. I mean, he has the Netflix thing happening now. He's got you talk about his course history. It's good. He's actually been quite terrible so far this year, and he has not shown up at big events. So his recent form is just so dramatically bad that just play the narrative on him as first round leader. But I'm actually actively fading Keegan this week.
Yeah, just Thursday. Just watch and root for him on Thursday. That's it.
Smash the like and subscribe. Right knows what to do here. Yeah, you know it, right. Thoughts on Willie Z, better than 22nd finishing position. Favorite bet of the week. You must have Bet365 because that's a Bet365 bet.
Wow, that's cool.
I guess it depends on what the odds are. I mean, if it's close to even money, what are his top 20 odds versus the extra 2 places for 22. Cam brought that up on the show yesterday. He was going to bet Cam Young under 22.5 finishing position at -120, but Cam Young's top 20 with ties included was minus 105. Like, I don't think that's worth the 15 cents.
Yeah, no. Zalatoris, though, I mean, do you like him in Florida?
Yeah.
Or like that? Does that not? Yeah. He's kind of a guy who can play anywhere, right? For
Yeah,
whatever
I think
reason,
the harder the course, the better.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
always love Zalatoris.
Anyone can eject at Bay Hill. We've seen it time after time. Like, you come out and you have a few bad drives, in the first 5 holes, and you're cooked for the week. Like, you're going home. But if you can get the driver under wraps, like he did at Riviera, I mean, he's played well at Torrey. Torrey and Bay Hill have been corollary courses in the past. And even to look at what he's done at this course over time, like, we can take a quick look here and just pop back over. Hey, there's your boy, Coachman. He's on the YouTube stream right now.
Yeah, Coach. Yeah, I'm talking a little DraftKings. If you want to just watch them and not listen to myself, or
I mean that they're already getting enough of people talking about DraftKings that maybe aren't maybe are not participating. But Farmer's 13th place finish for Zalatoris, like, that's pretty good at Torrey Pines, and that's before the second place at Riviera. And if we go back to the Farmers again, a 13th, a miscut, a second, and a 7th for him. And that's been a crossover type spot, like I mentioned, over the years. He hasn't quite put it together, but he was 10th in his debut here. He's gained ball striking every single year that he's played at Bay Hill, each of the past 3 years. He chipped like crap last year, and he's putted like crap every single year at this course. So if he can flip that around, that would be nice. But I mean, according to you, he's a better putter than Oberg. So I mean, you got to go with Zalatoris.
Yeah, it's like pick your poison. Like, they're both watching Zalatoris isn't much better when we're talking about 5 to 10 feet, right? I don't have comfort with either of them. But I guess seeing Zalatoris miss, I've seen it more, and so I'm more used to it at this stage. But yeah, right now I feel like they're neck and neck in my head. In terms of the stats, obviously Oberg is better than Zalatoris over the last 24 rounds.
So what you're saying is that in terms of what's actually happening, it's Ludwig, but in your mind, it's the same?
Yes. Isn't that what we do in life, Pat? Isn't that like when you see when you see the stats and you see the numbers, it should point you in one way, but you do something exactly different? It's all based on how you feel sometimes, right? And what I feel this week, and I'm probably going to be wrong. I'm more wrong than I am right. What I feel this week, I feel more confident in Zalatoris over Oberg. Now, the stats don't point to that, but I feel more confident in Willie Z for whatever reason.
That is a head-to-head you could probably find.
That's probably.
And you would get Zalatoris at plus money too if that was out there.
What? And then I got to do it. Right now, I haven't finalized everything yet. I got, I believe, 3 bets in so far. I think Seabez. I bet Rory. I think he was 9-1. I think. I forget the other person I bet. I forget who it was. I think it was either Connors or someone in that 60 range. So I'm finalizing everything tonight. I want to talk to you. I want to see if you could talk me on or off of someone. You've obviously talked me off of Victor, but I haven't finalized the card yet.
So David Miller says, hey, Pat, when you were making your sponsor decision, was it more about what everyone was offering, or did you also weigh in heavily where you see the market going with content, with best ball, with snake drafts? I mean, it's a bit of everything, really. I mean, obviously, money comes down. It's always the most important thing with making this decision, but making sure that the sponsor is also a fit for what you're doing too. And one of the big things that Underdog offered me, and why I'm trying to get everyone to galvanize support behind Underdog, like fill out those accounts, code Mayo, and get it registered, become part of the community, is one, they will help us grow the community. And Reid, we were both at DraftKings together. I love DraftKings. I love everyone there.
Yeah, it's great.
After 7.5 years, like the same, they had other projects that they had moved on from the Pat Mayo experience at this point. Like, I really wanted to go cover the President's Cup on location. Like, Underdog has afforded me that opportunity where they're going to get us all out there. We're going to be on the grounds and producing content. Just DraftKings had no interest in doing that anymore. So partnering up with Underdog, a lot of the special content, the more content, the different type content that I've always wanted to do, they right now are far more willing to say, like, hey, Pat, like, go do your thing. And, people will come along with that. That's why I always need the support. Like, even if you don't want to play a ton on Underdog, but just get on there, create an account, get it registered underneath my name, and then they'll just show them, like, oh, Pat has some pull here. We can give them more opportunity to go do more things. Like, those little things mean so much to both me, the show, and producing more content.
Absolutely. Yeah, Underdog's always been a fantastic platform. Even when I was at DraftKings, when you and I were at DraftKings, I would play on Underdog. It's a solid platform, and you're right. And this is kind of what we're doing with this too, as well, right? The content in terms of the space and where it's going, it's evolving. And what's nice about it is it's being democratized, especially with companies like Playback and with what Pat's doing. You're able now to not necessarily be one of these big shops where like the big networks where you can cover or where you can talk over live sports. So when that's the case, right? And when the people get a voice, and Pat, you're the man of the people. When you get a voice, yeah, the President's Cup and different stuff like what we're doing right now with Live at the Range, that's going to evolve and it's going to upgrade the entire product and hopefully the league itself. And that's the plan. So yeah, it's a good question. I like it.
No, there's CC Sabathia on the range right now. He's looking trim.
Yeah, I was gonna say, CC could go another 5 years.
I was looking. I was like, I thought it said Sabatini. It says like I saw SAB. I was like, when did Rory Sabatini become a left-handed golfing black man rather than a now Slovakian non-South African? I was like, it really was jarring for a second.
What do you think of the Myrtle? Was it the Myrtle Classic, Myrtle Beach Classic, where all those YouTube creators are going to have a chance at getting into a PGA Tour event?
I like that.
You heard about this?
Yeah, no, right? I like that a lot. And they're real dudes who can play. It's not like they're inviting me and Cuss to go shoot 120.
Although the worse you are at golf, the better the golf content, in my opinion.
Potentially so. That could be the way. Although Cust is especially bad now. That's another thing that we were working out with Underdog. Like we might try to do a match, but with the Pat Mayo experience orbit.
Oh God.
Where we go up to like Cabot, figure out drones. It'll be like me and Cust versus Jeff and Tambo or something like that. And you'll be able to play higher or lower on each of our holes and watch the stream as it goes along.
Can I Nara, can I be like the host of this match? I will fly up. I think I'll update I think my passport's updated. I will do everything I can to be part of that on the grounds.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pay your own way to go, then yeah, I'm not paying for you.
Come on, Underdog.
Yeah, they'll pay for me to go. That's more
what I'm. But that's the thing.
With this. So yeah, again, that's why we're
obviously.
That's why we have to support Underdog. If it's available in your state, just please go sign up now. And there's that survey. Like you can win $1,000. 5 of you will win $1,000 if you have the account. So sign up code Mayo, do the survey in the description. Boom, you're good to go. When ensuring your outright winner plays, what's the better option? Top 20 or head-to-head matchup? I would never fucking insure an outright bet. Like that's ridiculous. Because that obviously doesn't make any sense. Maybe if you did an each way and you get a good cut, like 1/4 of what the outright is. But even then, like if it's anything below 100 to 1, like fuck it, just roll with it. Bet more money on the outright to win more.
Yeah, like the obvious reason, the obvious answer is the top 5 it. But then, like you mentioned, right, you're cutting a lot of your value. I personally, because I've had too many runners up in my, especially on this guy on the range. Jesus effing Christ. With good old Sahith. So I do like that. I tend to put top 5s, but those are guys that are in the 60 range and up.
Yeah, if they're in the 60s, I could get behind that with the each way. But like if you feel like you need to insure your outright bet, just bet them top 10 or top 5. Don't bet them outright.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Just save the money that way. Haven't heard much about JT this week. Is it a good week to bounce back at lower ownership? Yeah, and is JT a good one and done play due to his miscut at the Genesis? See, here's the thing, and let me go look this up. I want to see if it actually translates over. I want to go to ownership percentage on fantasynational.com/Mayo to get yourself that 20% discount. Let's share this tab, and I'll bring that up. Let's see. Did it pop back over onto Fantasy National? Let's go. There we go. So let's see right now. So you can see the players coming in. These stars are I just kind of clicked a few. I'm still going to build my lineups after this. Justin Thomas, 11%. So he's lower, but he's in that same range as Max Homa. He's in that, he's higher than Wyndham Clark and Hideki and Tom Kim. So he's the low-ish end of a lot of guys he's around. But Homa, Morikawa, and Thomas all look to be kind of around the same. Spieth around the same, and that's going to be a range, obviously. That could be from like 10 to 15%. They'll all fall in there. Or maybe one guy really does get squeezed. Maybe it is. Justin Thomas, because I agree. I haven't heard a ton about him this week, but it's no less than I've heard about Homa or Spieth or Mount Morikawa. Have you heard anything different?
No, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. And I looked at his record at Farmers, right? 25th, 20th missed cut, and then a 10th, right? So yeah, if you feel like JT is that guy, then more power to you. Because yeah, no one's talking about him.
Yeah, so can Underdog host a show with Patty Harrington giving Tim a golf lesson? Like, yeah, that's perfect content. I'll go hit that right now.
Would be great. That would be great.
Any love for Højgaard at 100-1 just seems like a monster price for that talent. At 100-1, yeah, I do like that. I like him on DraftKings this week. I talked about the Torrey Pines crossover. He was just top 5 there, and I think he's a real talent. He's super young. He's got all the tools. When I actually did a best ball draft for tomorrow's show, Cody Main and I did 2 of them, and Højgaard was someone that I wanted to target late in those drafts because I know that he's going to be playing, Nikolai that is, playing in the Masters, and he'll get himself into the majors. But I could see him doing well at a PGA Championship or a U.S. Open. If you can play well at those venues, I think you can play well at Bay Hill too.
Yeah. Do you limit yourself to a certain amount of guys over triple digits when you're betting outrights, or is it just, hey, value? I'm gonna bet it.
Depends on the week, and it depends on what I've done at the top.
It's true. But for like this week, right? Like, who do you have? Don't you have 2 or 3 guys that are at triple digits?
Yeah, I have Hoagie and List at triple digits. If I see Højgaard if I can find Højgaard at 100-1, I might bet him at 100-1.
Yeah, and so that's again the reason why I ask is because some of us might think, well, that's too much exposure at that big of a number, right? How can why don't you just bet the top and bet more? But there's value, like Pat mentioned. Like if you can play well at a certain type of course, and you're a player that hasn't yet, and that's kind of what we've seen with players like Sahith last year, Eric Cole last year, where they you and I and golf Twitter and the golf space can know about these guys much more than the general public. Then yeah, that's where you want to glean that value from. But yeah, Højgaard is fantastic. I love him. But in that price range though for DK, I love Harris English.
Of course you do. Everyone loves Harris English this week.
Yeah. So that's why, like, I would rather play him again. GPP,
because everyone likes him and he's a worse player.
No, like not a worse player.
He is. He's objectively worse than Nikolai in 2024.
Oh, okay. Yes. This year he has been worse, but not collectively. Harris English is a proven winner, and he's got course history here. I like it. Like everybody likes Harris.
You're going to call Harris English a proven winner who's won twice in 14 years on the PGA Tour.
He's won twice in the last 2 years. So yeah, a proven winner of the last 2 years.
Has he won twice in the past? Yeah, he won twice in the past year. Sorry, he has 3 wins in his career. Højgaard
you're shortchanging the guy.
I mean, Højgaard just won the DP World Tour Championship, didn't he?
Yes, like he's more talented and he's younger, and English is he's on the sunset of his career. I can't wait to see him on the Champions Tour.
I mean, Harris English is like legit like 35 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's not there yet. I like Harris English. That's the other guy.
On the Champions Tour. He's fucking 34 years old. He can be on the Champions Tour.
I was kidding. He's not going to be on the Champions Tour for 15 years.
16 years.
But I like him. I like him on the outright side too. I think I bet him at 55 or 60-1.
So Harris English, he's won 3 times in 14 years, 15 years. Højgaard just won the DP World Tour Championship. So it's pretty good.
Not yet on the PGA Tour though. Not yet.
I mean, the guy just joined the PGA Tour.
I'm just kidding. I like Højgaard. He's a fantastic guy, but give me English over Højgaard.
At triple to 6 times the ownership on DraftKings?
If it's triple, then no.
It's going to be more than triple.
You think it's going to be more than triple?
Yeah.
English over Højgaard? Oh,
absolutely.
Well, then if that's the case, then yeah.
By the way,
probably not.
Nikolai Højgaard has as many wins in his career as Harris English does. He won the Italian Open last year or 2 years ago. He won the DP World Tour Championship. He won the Ras Al Khaimah, where the Japanese guy just won this year. And that's
a 7th. We got a 7th for Harris English last week, at Genesis in February. You got a 17th at Phoenix. This guy's playing with some form here. No, all kidding aside, yeah. If he's triple the ownership, then no. Right. And again, this is obviously it matters if you're playing GPP or not. But again, I like Harris English a little more than Højgaard this week.
All right. I like Højgaard. I think he's a great player.
Yeah. He is. I like him too, but
are there any restrictions on you betting when you're doing the commentary for the event?
Yes.
So the weeks
you're not supposed to. Right. Because they don't want you to obviously sway. They don't want your voice, your inflection. Like if you got an outright on Min Woo and he misses a 5-foot putt, you got to fight back a lot of urges to cuss on air that he missed that putt. So yes, you can't bet while you're calling an event.
Min Woo's on the range right now. I bet on Min Woo here last year. It did not go well.
No.
I think he's a bit too wayward off the tee. Like if he can harness his driver this week, which is usually really good, but it's not the most accurate thing going, that he can just dummy this course. But his approaches are still really bad.
Yeah.
And if he does find the water once or twice, I think he might. I think he's actually a pretty decent bet to miss the cut. And it's like it's not a big cut.
No, it's not. You think he's gonna miss the cut? Oh, what's that on?
They're not offering a lot of to make the cut, to not make the cut for this tournament anywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say then that might be a pretty good one. That's going to be at plus odds for sure.
Oh yeah, it'd be like plus 300, plus 350, plus 400, anything like that.
Man, he lost 5.5 strokes at Phoenix. Jeez.
Yeah. Travis asked, do you like Chokley beating Hovland head to head? I do like Cantlay to beat Hovland this week, yes.
Yeah, same.
But you love Hovland.
I do love Hovland. I loved him, and then you talked me off the Hovland ledge. But I also like Cantlay.
The Sunday leaderboard at this event last year was probably the best non-major leaderboard I can remember. Nothing but stars in the hunt. Do you think we finally see something like that this weekend? Probably, and probably the same result. The guy who's 200-1 wins.
Yeah. Look, Kitayama, like he was on a heater though. And to your point, right? He had a lot of experience on the DP World Tour. Back then, obviously the European Tour. But yeah, I mean, if there's a 200-1 guy out there, who's your favorite 200-1 player? I know when I was talking with my brother, he likes Putnam, but
why?
Because his putting, I guess, or because he can randomly pop.
Now, does your brother know a lot about golf, or is he like, or is it just like
he watches a lot about golf?
Is it like when Jeff thought that Seamus Power was like the longest player on tour because his last name is Power? Like Putnam can putt, right? Yeah, he must be a good player.
Exactly. Look, is Putnam the Kitayama this year?
No,
probably not.
Like if I had to nominate a Kitayama of the year, it's Valimaki. That's the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah. I also had Valimaki 2 weeks ago in Mexico.
No, that's what you get for not betting Jake Knapp.
I did also bet Jake Knapp, so it was a nice little.
You just bet everyone there.
Yeah, exactly. Valimaki is solid. I obviously like Valimaki. But yeah, I don't know if a 200-1 guy is going to win this week. Obviously they can. But this week it doesn't feel like that. Again, all stats, all numbers aside, for me, it just doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, and like Valimaki has his 2 wins on the DP World Tour. He won in Oman. That's a place where Kitayama had won in the past. He won in Qatar. That was last year. He has a second place in Mexico already this year. He was second place in Wales in 2020. He was second place in Singapore last year on the DP World Tour. So I don't know. Like he's a pretty decent player. He's up and down, obviously, but maybe I should give more of a look to Wacky Valimaki this week. Because like you said, it's not like he comes in with no form to speak of. He was second the last time he was out.
What about your fellow countrymen?
I mean, I only bet Corey Connors this week as my countryman.
No, the 24th last year for Svenny. There's no love for Svensson.
You can bet Svensson. How about that?
No, I'm not betting Svensson. God, no, I'm not betting Svensson.
Why not? Does it feel like you're pretty against him then?
No, I'm not betting Svensson. He's obviously someone who's been bet on quite a bit and touted quite a bit this year. I'm just not on him.
Let's see. What does this guy say? Love for English? ? Well, okay, he's a nice guy, but my guy Bads, 8 wins worldwide, still world class around the greens, and you guys give no love. He's not even in this fucking tournament. The fuck are you talking about? You fucking moron.
What is he talking about? Aaron Badley?
Aaron Badley. This guy sounds like he wants to cut off Aaron Badley's hair and then wrap it around his neck and give himself, one of those autoerotic things. That's what this fucking guy sounds like. Fuck off. Banned for life.
Oh, I missed it. I was about to say it's been a while since I've heard that. I was going to say, we're banning this guy for life.
Min Woo plus 330 to miss the cut on Philip Rivers, as we like to call it, Bet Rivers. Yeah, maybe that could end up being the play. Like, I don't know if I'd actively go out of my way to do it, but that'd be an interesting one. Thanks for the show. Good content. Oh, thanks, Matthew. I can only bet with FanDuel and DraftKings, and both of them reduce wagers based on ties. Is it worth betting placements with these companies because of this? I think you should check out the show that I did with Model Maniac like 2 weeks ago, and we actually went over this particular subject. I mean, I don't understand why you can only bet with those places. If you can bet with those places, then any legal book would presumably be in the state that you're in.
Yeah, some don't actually.
Oh, really?
Like if you're in Connecticut or I am, there's some like PointsBet you can't, right? In New York, you can bet all of them. MGM, PointsBet, DK, FanDuel. But in some spots, it's like only specifically like FanDuel and DK. And they chop, obviously, like this guy is saying. They chop with the placements, which is god awful.
It is, but you get better odds on the non-tie markets.
True. Yep.
Than the tie markets. Like you can do that on 365. You can go in. I can probably show it. I'm not even logged in right now, but I can probably throw this up. I can share that tab. Boom.
I love the enhancements that you guys have. And
yeah,
like
so
on Bet365, I like that.
If we go to golf under like the menu option here, as you can see, you can go top finishes, including ties, and then top finishes. So including ties, let's say top 5, Scotty Scheffler's plus 140. That's including ties. Without ties, Scotty Scheffler is plus 160. So you're losing 20 cents for the ties on the top 5. Now in the top 5 market, it's not as pronounced. Let's say, let's just try to take, that was 20 cents there. Let's take Adam Scott, top 20. So Adam Scott is plus 140 without the ties. With the ties, Adam Scott is plus 125. So now you're losing 15 cents on that. So it depends on what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So that's just an example of what we can do in terms of like losing points that way. What do we do with Jason Day? Are we playing him on DK? Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty good for me.
Yeah, I like it.
Sam Burns for me, and JT is a sneaky Gur guy. I mean, you're just picking like top players. You're picking 2 of the top 8 guys on the betting board. Of course, they're probably going to be good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for the insight, pal.
I have no pulse. I have no feeling on Burnsy this week. I know he's obviously been playing well.
He was overpriced to start the week.
Yeah.
In terms of the betting market, but he's normalized now, I believe. I kind of looked right through him because it's almost the opposite of what you just did with Oberg. But now he's down to 25 to 1 to 28 to 1, maybe even 30 in some spots. That's Sam Burns. Yeah, that I could see. I'm probably just going to hold out to just hopefully he sucks the next 2 weeks and I can bet him at the Valspar.
Yeah, obviously.
Someone says Taylor Moore as the guy that we want to see. I used Taylor Moore at Riviera, and I thought he was going to miss the cut for a while. He didn't. He actually played like, all right, got himself back into the mix. But we can take a look at Taylor Moore here. He is 200 to 1. So when we were talking about the 200 to 1, what's that?
Yeah.
I think I prefer Valimaki just because of his ball flight here, but you can see better putter on Bermuda for Taylor Moore. So that's good. He gains 0.2 strokes, so a fifth of the stroke per round on Bermuda. Has been putting very poorly so far this season, but he hasn't missed a cut so far. Granted, he's played in 1, 2, 3 events that have been limited fields, but made the cut in Phoenix, dropped a bunch of strokes, but good on approach. Great approach. You know what? Great approach at the Genesis. 6.3 strokes, so over 1.5 per round. Terrible around the greens. That's been a trend. Terrible off the tee is the thing that worries me, though. So let's see where these strokes are coming from. Because if it's driving accuracy, maybe he's just missing left or right a ton, which isn't the end of the world here. However, if he is missing, let's see, right avoid and left avoid, he wasn't able to do that. So he's just not hitting fairways at all. So not hitting fairways here could lead to an awful lot of problems, in my mind at least.
Yeah. Last year, he had a pretty good Florida swing, though. I mean, you get 39th here, Players 35th. You obviously won the Valspar. So maybe he finds something when he gets to the Sunshine State. So, yeah, I mean, 200 to 1, right? Like, you're not going to get, a stat stud here. And there's going to be a reason why he's 200 to 1. So, yeah, I don't mind it.
So the one thing I would point to, like when we're looking, he lost 9.4 strokes. He must have had a really bad Sunday hitting the ball in the water on approach. So, but just to look at his lead-in form before that, like he had 3 straight top 15s before missing the cut as a Genesis and going to Florida itself. He was gaining strokes off the tee. He was gaining strokes on approach. And he had a run of like 8 tournaments in a row where he was gaining strokes on the green, and his around the green game is just notably terrible at all times. But now just juxtapose that with what we've seen this year. Like, he's bad off the tee. He's bad around the greens. He's bad on the greens. The approach has been really good. So maybe that is something that we can point to with him right now as where we want to go. But I don't know. I would probably go with Valimaki. Maybe Valimaki has been, just as bad, but at least I just saw him come in second place. And I do like his ball flight for here better. And if the wind picks up like it's supposed to on the weekend, I would just default to the Euro guy almost immediately and every time.
Yeah, that was going to be our next question is, like, when you look at these guys at these numbers, is it form? Is it, like you mentioned, ball flight and bringing in the conditions? I know it's going to be an aggregate of all, but yeah, especially with the DP side, you talked about it with Højgaard. Right? When you have those, especially DP, it's not like, yes, it's very different than the PGA Tour, but now with a lot of the LIV guy or like all these guys going to LIV, to me, it's actually a lot closer than it was before in terms of talent level. The PGA Tour still has it, but yeah, when these guys come over fairly new, like the Valimakis of the world and the Højgaards, that's where you find the value. So yeah, I like Sammy.
Feel naked not having a Masters futures this year after normally having a 3 minimum. It's the futures market. The futures market is bad. They realize that people they realize that people like us and people who watch this show be like, oh, like, I mean, the Willett thing is one that was almost 10 years ago now, but even as recent as 4 years ago, you could catch, they would actually move those markets. They don't move those markets anymore. If you're 12 to 1, you're 12 to 1 until the week of the Masters. No matter how poorly you play, they only move people up. They don't move anyone down. So the hold that the books take on these futures markets in golf is just ridiculous. It's not worth betting. Some people have some good Neiman numbers that are going to beat the market, but that's really about it at the moment.
Yeah. I think I got a Zalatoris at mid 40s in December.
Sure, but honest to God, that's a terrible bet, considering the guy couldn't walk at the time.
Exactly. And that's exactly, I was about to say that, is like, you had to make that assessment that my rationale was, if he does well on the West Coast swing, which he inevitably did, right, that number is going to be cut in half. And for me, okay, I'm going to spend whatever it is, right, 20, 25, 30, 40, whatever unit size that you bet, you're going to spend that on other golfers that you're going to lose inevitably leading up to the Masters in the previous tournaments. Why not just allocate this amount of money to Zalatoris in the event that it does flash down? I got quote unquote lucky. He's okay, right? He's healthy. But again, Zalatoris, and especially with back injuries, we've seen it all the time with different golfers. These things can flare up very quickly, very easily, even though he looks healthy and even though he says he's healthy. So that's the only one I have. And I think the US Open, I think I got Henley at 190.
Man, I'm not one to talk. You literally love flushing down the toilet.
Hey, it's gonna go to some other stupid thing, Pat. At least I can say I got closing line value. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. You can go tout that. Let's see. Is this the week Tommy Fleetwood finally wins? Feels like this is an event where I could see him win in Florida. I mean, it feels like that every week with Tommy. He never wins.
Yeah.
Are you tipping any underdog pick'ems this week? Yeah, I gave out one on the Tuesday show, and Tambo and I actually walked through one on this morning DraftKings show as well. Xander Cantlay lower first round of their opening scores. It looks like Thursday's the day that people are going to score. So we did those two together. That pays 3-1. And then the one we made today was Connor's lower opening round score, Xander lower opening round score. I mean, I can effort this and just pull it up on my phone to see what I can get.
You see these guys talking about low Asian-born player on the Live from the Range, and I think Immelman's bet was Benny on. So after you pull that up, I want to get your thoughts on that.
Let's see here. Live is what I want to look at. Morikawa, Connor, Schauffele. So Morikawa needs to be 2 under or better. Corey Connors, 71.5. So 1 under or 2 under or better for him. So 3 under or better for Morikawa, 2 under or better for Xander, 2 under or better for Corey Connors is where I'm going. And then I play the one with Xander and Cantlay as well.
Yeah.
So those are the underdog plays. Code Mayo on Underdog Pick'em, by the way.
Yeah, please go to Underdog, code Mayo. Underdog's a great site.
What courses are you looking at for comps? Torrey Pines. Apparently, Bez is a member at Bay Hill. Went from second at Cognizant to miscut, but was awesome on approach all year. Wow. What are you reading? Roto World fucking notes to me? Thanks, pal. thanks for the tip.
Hey, I like that. I like that tip. That's why I bet him.
I know. There you go. He's a member.
No.
That always works out, doesn't it? If you're a member at the course, you always win.
That's like the whole narrative with Eric Cole, right? Last week, whatever it was, and he was DFL. Yeah, look, these guys, I would argue it's harder. If you're a member, it's much more difficult to play well because you have all that pressure that you're supposed to play well. J-Rob on Playback chat says, I bet Rose 125-1 this week, Pat.
I mean, at least now you can't buy the noose to hang yourself with.
Oh, God.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing to do because you wasted all your money on Justin Rose.
No chance J Rose is winning this.
Hey, listen, there's always a chance.
There's a 1 in 125. Yeah, you're right.
He's won at Torrey Pines in the past. Just I see nothing from him at the moment. He plays well for 3 holes and then like shits down his leg.
You think this Jake Knapp can keep on the Mo can keep on going for nap time?
Yeah. Don't call him that. People need to stop making the world's easiest puns. Me calling him Sean Parker is the most clever thing that I've ever done.
That's good. Yeah. No.
A good nickname means that some people don't get it. That's the whole point of it.
Right.
Anyone can go, it's nap time. Wake up from it. He's not napping anymore. It's like, no, here's fucking Sean Parker. He's going to like.
Well, that's why. Right. That's the point of, right? If you don't want to listen to it, I love Steve Sands, but sometimes he has those jokes, right? Like he just has the easiest low-hanging fruit jokes. Love Sandsy, but we gotta up the comic relief, Sandsy.
If you're gonna go to try to be the comic relief, then yeah, you might want to try harder on that one. But yeah, if you got Napster,
okay, here's
of course. There you go.
Oh, Napster that's good. Pat,
that's why he's Sean Parker Reed. You don't even get the reference.
Sean Parker? No, I don't get the reference.
Sean Parker's the inventor of Napster.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was long ago. Oh God. But yeah, I don't get the reference. I use Napster quite a bit though.
I'm of that generation.
No, I know, but I forgot that was his name. Like now I get it, but I forgot that was his name. But I get that's the reference. Napster. I get it. But here's my question, Pat. If you were on the range here, if you're playing in this pro-am, would you be like actually hitting balls with these guys or just like watching them?
I'd be hitting balls. I think a big misconception about me is that I actually give a shit what other people are doing. I don't. I care about me.
What about the guys you had outrights on? Wouldn't you want to see other?
Do you think I would be allowed to bet on the event that I was playing in the pro-am for?
Maybe, right? Like if you're like a seat, like you've already placed these bets on Monday. You come on a Wednesday. I'm sure they're able to do it. You're just playing a pro-am.
Yeah.
It's not like you're taking a club right to their legs in the pro-am.
All right, last few here. Burns, Spieth, or Homa, last man in. I'm going to say I'll go with you. I'll go with Spieth with you, okay?
Yep.
Hideki got to be feared when the putter fire. Okay, that's quite the comment there, Mark Green. Thanks for your insight. Harris English or Jake Knapp, DFS. I'll go with Sean Parker. You can take your boy, Harris English.
I'll do it. Give me Harris English.
Last one. Do you think that full Keegan could turn up this week like EVR did last week? I mean, sure, Keegan could. I see nothing of the sorts in his game right now. And like EVR had been playing well.
No, I agree. All
right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Reid, it is fun to have you back and me yelling at you. I've really missed this.
It's great. I miss this too because like this is what I need every Wednesday. This used to be what we did every Wednesday for like a year straight, and now I need it. Everyone's too nice to me now. I don't like it.
Yeah, you need to have some sort of conflict in your life. Let's see here. J-Rob says, yeah, but he's good for a 125 sprinkle. He's not. It's a terrible thing. You should feel fucking ashamed of yourself. J-Rob.
You could have let that one go. You could have let that one go.
I clicked over because I got to get to the Watch Playback chat. So join on Watch Playback if you're watching this on the YouTube feed because we're going to try to I mean, we'll clean up the language a little bit when we're talking over, if we can get the actual tour rights. We're talking over YouTube right now, so we got to use some YouTube language on the go. That's how we're going to play it on this. But if you want to help support us to try to get a real cut sweat, this is the way to do it, by the way, if you're going to go. So newsletter's coming out tonight. Reid, what are you up to?
So right now, PGA Tour Live, like I mentioned, I'll be down there for a handful of tournaments this year. We're obviously trying to get Playback TV up and running. Full disclosure, I'm consulting with them, but like this is one of my big pushes, for the next X amount of years, is to get stuff like Playback TV and the PME and the Pat Mayo Experience Mayo Media Network on something like this, right? Because this is where the content is going to go. So you're going to see a lot of this, a lot of me touting, and getting other people as well on board with Watch Playback and Playback TV. Such a cool product. I really enjoy talking to the team. Great team as well. But that's what I'm doing.
Let's see. Whose shirt is uglier? If he means between us. I mean, here's the thing.
Oh, you kidding me?
This shirt is amazing. I really like this shirt. And listen, I really like your shirt as well. I mean, you're repping the island of Hawaii with that shirt. At least I think you are, from what I can see on my screen. The problem is these internet people don't get it because they're all fucking trolls who live in their mom's basement. When you look as good as we do, you can literally wear anything you want.
Exactly. Thank you, Pat. You took the words right out of my mouth. And this is amazing. This is a golf shirt too, guys.
Yeah, it looks good. And like I mean, we're not completely zoomed out here, but when you get the framing on the arms right there, that's why I really like this shirt. Fits very good. Looks good in the chest, looks good in the arms, shows off the traps. It's wide at the bottom, so you don't see my gut hanging out. So it's perfect.
You don't have a gut. Like the skinniest dude ever.
That is untrue, but thank you for the very positive reinforcement. Smash a like, join Underdog Fantasy, code Mayo. Fill out the survey that's in the YouTube description. Join watchplayback.com as well, so we can do more of these, more live chats, and we'll be good to go.
Yep.
Thank you all for watching. You can follow Reid on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, and that will do it for us. We'll see you next time.